Just wanted to show it to you. So starting on October 1st, Reason will be doing a increase for all of its product line. So if you are on the fringes about upgrading your Reason to Reason 12 and you kind of want to do that, then now would be the time to do it, because after October 1st, the cost of an upgrade will go to about, yeah, $200. And if you're on the fringes of using Reason in its entirety, then access to the full DAW as a whole will go up $100. So you'll have to pay about $500 to use Reason, and then $200 in the future moving forward for any upgrades that they have. Now, depending on how they depending on how they do their upgrades and the features that they roll out, this might be a good thing. Yeah, it might be a good thing. And I say that because on one end, there are two philosophies involved when it comes to doing business. So on one end, there's the philosophy that if you increase the cost for using your product, you can pay your people more. And as a result of paying your people more, they can now devote more time and resources into developing your product or, product line that you may have. That's one option. It could be argued that the other side to that is if you provided your customers with the features and the things that they were looking for, that people would spend more money, and thus as a result of people just spending more money because you are offering all of the features that you want, that people want your product to have, then as a result you would have more money. In the case of Reason, in my opinion, has been very slow with its updates, especially when you look at their product compared to other companies like Line and Ableton. So both Line and Ableton, like Reason, all three DAWs or all three softwares started out as not being DAWs. FL Studio was more like, I think it was a software that was based on like some of the drum machines like the TR-303. Ableton was more specifically dedicated for doing DJing. But when you look at a company like FL Studio, FL Studio offers a wide variety of features, but one of the perks with the FL Studio is that you get lifetime updates. And most people go with the producer edition if you're using FL, because it offers enough features that can get the user going, and it's at a reasonable price. You're paying $200. You can handle audio. You can do a lot of things with MIDI. You can process audio. You got your VSTs, and it has its own set of virtual instruments that come with the DAW. And then I have to mention again, you have lifetime free updates. So even in the aspects where FL Studio seems to be lacking, FL Studio is remarkable in that they do lifetime free updates, and they seem to always, or for the most part, give their primary user base the features that they're looking for. And so I hear a lot of people that have been using FL Studio for a long time, for the most part, they're like, yes, when there's an upgrade, I've heard people say like, these are the things we're looking for. We're glad to rock with a company that listens to their customer base. And FL Studio is free. Not free, pardon me. Their upgrades are free. And mind you now that you can get the complete everything edition for 500 bucks. And so if there's a bunch of virtual instruments that you are curious about using, some of their additive synthesizers and some of their, you know, more or less advertised FM synthesizers, you can get access to everything for 500 bucks and, go for what you know. And they have a really good sequencer and a really good piano roll. A lot of people who go to FL Studio love their piano roll and love that sequencer because it allows you to hash out your ideas real quick. And there are a lot of well-known producers in the EDM field and in the rap field, trap field that have used this DAW to make some great music. People like Knife Wonder, TM88, Southside. I'm gonna go back to Knife Wonder because he did that Jay-Z Black album with FL Studio. So you got that. The other side to this is you have the company Ableton. Put all my business on the street, and that's okay. We're going to go back to the beginning. And Ableton is another company that, like FL Studio, like Reason, when it started out, it wasn't a DAW. It was more or less like DJ software, which explains why it, can chop up audio so well because of, what it's come with. Now, Ableton, their philosophy is kind of reverse, where FL Studio, they have free lifetime updates. Ableton more or less provides you with a boatload of features, but it costs a lot of money. Anything outside of the intro is like $100. But anything outside of the intro, you go to the standard is like $500. And Suite is roughly about $700 to $800. So it's expensive. But with Ableton is considered now to be pretty much the industry standard. When you buy any piece of hardware, any controller like your Arturia controllers or some of your Akai controllers, oftentimes they'll come accompanied with Ableton Lite. One of the perks in getting something like an MPC Live or an Akai Force is that it has integration with Ableton in a way that other DAWs don't. Even the new Roland Phantom, which is not new anymore, it has tight integration with Ableton as one of its features and perks for getting it. The other thing about Ableton is you have controllers such as Novation and like the Launchpad, as well as the Push 1 and Push 2, that allow for a very tight workflow within its own ecosystem. So if you get something like Ableton, you can really get busy with making music, and basically you have a dedicated ecosystem, if you will, if you invest into the product line that will allow you to make music, and they offer robust features. The flip side is that they cost a lot more. Ableton is the real fully featured version is about $800, but for what you get in terms of quality, Ableton is pretty much the DAW to beat. And so now you have Reason. Reason for the past 10 years has really been struggling with staying afloat with other DAWs and, in terms of their feature set. And so using a DAW like Reason compared to FL Studio and Ableton, you have to ask the question, what am I getting with this feature or with this DAW, this piece of software that I'm not getting in other, in other DAWs or in other products? Reason has yet to provide VST3 support, and yes, it's coming in January, but that's in January. You're paying for something that they're hoping to roll out. You're not paying for a feature that you currently have. You're going to pay for they might be able to add in the high definition 4K support for the entire sequencer as well as all of the instruments. They don't currently have that. They just have 4K for the racks. So, things like that, when it comes to Reason as a software, in terms of how not only they provide their upgrades, but then how they support the DAW over time, there is a big difference compared to how they do business and how Ableton does business. And, the instruments in Reason they're good instruments. Like, they sound good. I own quite a bit of different VSTs and quite a few different virtual instrument libraries. Reason is nice. However, if we're going into that space of comparing and contrasting between Reason and the Arteria product line, that's a different argument, because Arteria's got some nice stuff. They just released a VST of their own that's pretty powerful. There's Native Instruments. Native Instruments has been releasing, VSTs for years, and they are considered the industry standard, or one of the industry standards, when it comes to VSTs and sound libraries. And again, so you're releasing this product to now kind of, be hedged in between two worlds, both your DAW and your plugin space. And, there are some things that are missing in that regard to make them, be a viable source of competition in either one of those, aspects. They're good. Reason is good in terms of its, what it can do. But in my personal opinion, them going to a price point of $200 for your upgrade, I see the logic behind it. I don't know how well that will gel with his customers. I understand business and people have to make money, but if I'm paying $200 for an upgrade, then what's to stop your current customer base for switching to another DAW like FL Studio, where FL Studio can also be used as a plugin and a full-featured DAW? Or what's to stop your customer base from going to something like Ableton, which is considered by many in different spaces to be like one of the top DAWs that you can buy? So, I think for Reason, it will really depend on how they start treating their updates moving forward. As it currently stands, if they keep rolling out the features at the rate that they have, I think this move could come back to bite them. But, that's just my 2 cents. Let me know what you think in the comment section. What do you think about Reason now changing its pricing points? What do you think about, the upgrades and as a whole? Let me know in the comment section. Either way, thanks for watching this video. It's Tim Keys. I'm out. Peace.